Welcome back to the Team to Be Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. Before I get started on today's episode, just want to thank everybody for supporting the channel. I'm pushing to 3,000 subscribers, so if you guys do enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So Kevin O'Connor, NBA insider analyst, came out and said that the Golden State Warriors are hesitant to trade for Jimmy Butler because they have concerns about how Jimmy Butler would fit with the Warriors. And I'm not talking about how he would fit basketball-wise and playing-wise, but Kerr also apparently has concerns, and Steph, in terms of his personality fit, which I think is pretty interesting to say the least. Well, for the first part, they have a guy in Draymond Green who is obviously a interesting personality on the Warriors, and also a guy who punched his teammate in the face. Former teammate, obviously. He has now come to apologize most recently, and that was against Jordan Poole. But either way, they're okay with they don't have concerns with Draymond's personality, but they may have concerns with Jimmy's personality. And I'm not saying that's crazy because Jimmy is a character, obviously, and he's not everybody's cup of tea, and he's burning bridges everywhere he goes. So it's very understandable. Steve Kerr is friends with Eric Spoelstra. They coached together in the Olympics twice now over the past 8 years. They play a similar, or they coach a similar style of basketball. They both like small ball. And Spo probably has talked to Steve Kerr about this. I'm sure they've had conversations about Jimmy Butler's personality and character, especially right now where Jimmy has been suspended 3 times from the Miami Heat. So I kind of understand, but let's hear what Kevin O'Connor said specifically real quick.
League sources say Stephen Kerr specifically has concerns about Jimmy Butler's fit in the Warriors locker room, and Steve Kerr shares those feelings. So Golden State's indecision about trading for Butler seems to be largely tied to Steph and Kerr's worries about the personality fit there. And so while I've not heard Draymond Green also shares those concerns, it is interesting that on his own podcast, he went out there and talked about it, detailing the challenges trading for Butler's $48 million salary. And that echoes the concerns, of course, that the Warriors front office would have with everything that they have to give up to go get Butler. The Warriors have a big win over the Thunder on Wednesday. They're still the 11 seed, but they're only 4 games back from the 4 seed. So I could certainly see them just saying, screw it, trading for Butler, going for it this season, optimizing their chances. And maybe it works beautifully. Maybe they make a deep run. And then if it doesn't work, there'd be nothing stopping them from just letting him go if he opts out this summer, or trading him again if he were to opt in. And that's a scenario to think about for Golden State. But it should surprise nobody that if the Warriors just end up holding on to their pieces, waiting until the summer, hope Kevin Durant wants to head back to the Bay Area or some other star wants to go there, and they bypass the chance to go get Jimmy Butler.
Well, KOC, first of all, thanks for confirming what seemed to be the case, right? Is that if Steph Curry wanted Jimmy Butler would be on the Warriors right now. It makes sense that there was a hesitation or reluctance from the Steph Curry side because everything goes through Steph. And we talked about it last week, whether that should be the case. That do you need Stephen Curry's sign off if they make a big move like that, or trading Stephen Curry to what we talked about last week, the San Antonio Spurs. But if you're Steph Curry and you're looking at the situation, you're like, I can have Draymond Green, and that might be, a combustible force in that locker room already. Do I want to add another piece like that you don't know if those personalities will mesh? Forget about you and Jimmy Butler. What about Draymond and Jimmy Butler? Can you imagine if Jimmy Butler's trying to play for his next extension and it becomes at a collision course with Draymond Green and what Stephen Curry has built up? Jimmy Butler on paper makes a lot more sense, but the Jimmy Butler with the extension expectations, it might be just too much for them to handle with that lock.
I mean, I guess they make some good points there. Obviously, everything runs through Stephen Curry. And if the price is right and the Miami Heat have had to lower their expectations in terms of what they can get for Jimmy Butler, then if the Warriors can get him for cheap, like I'd still consider it. Obviously, right now they're in the 11th seed. They had a huge victory against the Thunder. So Jimmy Butler is someone who can help elevate this team to hopefully avoid the play-in and make it into the playoffs, and then have the clutch factor to play with an NBA champion like Steph Curry, another NBA champion like Draymond Green. I think him and Green would be a menace to deal with. Like those two guys as your 3-and-D wings would be insane. So, yeah, interesting to hear that Kerr and Steph are having their hesitations, and it makes sense because, to their point, I guess, if they really wanted Butler that bad, they would have made a good offer, a good enough offer to get him on the team at this point. So it doesn't seem very likely unless they get a very good deal out of it. So we'll see. But anyway, that's all I have for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.